Thank you for staying with us and welcome back. With the conversation around the refinery and the petroleum industry, it's part of what we're supposed to look at today, and we'll still get back there, hopefully, by the time we get those gentlemen in the studio. But we have joining us now a Director of Press and Public Relations at the National Youth Service Corps, Mr. Eddie. Dr. Eddie Megwa, thank you for joining us. Dr. Megwa, can you hear us? Oh,
good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Let's get in real quick. This conversation around the fake universities in Togo, suspension of certificates of universities in Togo and Benin Republic, based on a report that was carried out by an undercover reporter. It also points fingers at the operations of the National Youth Service Corps, so to speak, because apparently he had served in 2019 and he was able to serve again. How is that possible?
Oh, yeah. Actually, the NYSC got the information when the young man put his write-up. And we knew that this is not very normal. I recall very certainly that the undercover journalist came to my office and we spoke extensively. And he was telling me that some people who served before came back to serve again. And I told him, no, our integrated ICT system cannot allow that to happen, especially when we have captured your phone number, captured your email. It will be impossible for you to use the same profile to come and register again. Eventually, we got the news that it had actually happened. But if you follow the story very well, you'll be able to find out exactly where he made a point, that when he tried to register, the system flagged it because he used the email and phone number with which he used in serving in 2019, and the system rejected it. And so he had to go through another shortcut, another route, developing another email address and another phone number before the thing was able to, accept him into the system. Now, NYSC is very clear on issues like this. Our integrated system, is involving everything. And when issues like this come up, we also sit down to look at it. What exactly happened? And we'll build on it to make sure that such issues will not happen again.
When you say you build on it, because yes, he actually talked about the fact that when we asked him in the studio a couple of days ago how he was able to get in, he talked about the fact that his number was flagged, his email was flagged, and he got another one, which you have confirmed here. But then, is it possible now that somebody can just come up with another email and phone number and get into their system? Because that's what he did.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what the young man did. Because he was out for a particular purpose and he tried to go through the usual route using his authentic phone number and email. And the system said, no, this person you have served before, I cannot accept. And that's why he now went around and developed another email quickly and added another phone number.
But Mr. Megwa, what that means is anybody, the question I'm asking is anybody can just come up with any number and email and get into the system, or is there something that is being done to ensure that this kind of things don't happen again? Are you doing biometric capturing? Is that biometric capturing even effective?
Oh yeah, we are into biometric capturing, both for the locally trained graduates and the foreign trained graduates. And in this instance, for the foreign trained graduates, we don't have database that we use in assessing them. What we require is for them to give us their certificate and of course upload their details in our system. And when we see the details which they have uploaded, we will now invite them for physical verification And that is the point will authenticate whether they actually graduated from that claimed institution or not. And most times, especially from these Ghana, Cameroon, Niger, Benin Republic graduates, we give them tests to find out if they actually went there to school or not. And you will not believe it. Our findings are mind-boggling. Look, recall, this issue started way back 2006. The then Director General, Brigadier General Yusuf Boma, was moving around the orientation camps, interacting with corps members. He met a corps member and asked the corps member, "How are you?" He said, "Fine, where did you graduate from?" He said, University of Calab. He said, "What's your project topic?" He said, I don't know what project is. I don't know. Now, that caught our curiosity. And we started investigating, only for us to find out that then the student affairs officers will go and collect money from even bread sellers and groundnut sellers and put their names in Senate-approved list and forward to NYSC. Now, this therefore made NYSC to start investigating. And through such investigation, we found out so many things. But thank God, some of the affected institutions, we started, punishing the erring officers of the institution, and the whole thing started going down. So you see, NYSC, we are doing the best we think we can do, and if the system is beaten at a particular point, now it's a wake-up call for us to also look into the system and see how we can upgrade it.
So in a way, NYSC should be commending Mr. Audu for that investigative report. But before we get into that, this matter of having to ask the students, give them a test to know whether they went to that school, does it mean that the NYSC does not have any link or communication with the graduating institutions? Can't the NYSC reach out to those institutions to say, do you know this person, to inquire about them, or get login details into their systems to see if the students are registered or were registered in those schools? Doesn't that happen?
Yeah, look, let's take the instance of the young man, the undercover that carried out this investigation. Now, you will not approve it. You see, what I have here is the Senate-approved list of the institution forwarded to NYSC. And his name is there. So they go into collaboration with the managers of the institutions. Okay? They feed in their names, perfect their papers, and now send down to NYSC. Now, when we found out that what they are sending to us, we need to scrutinize it. That's why we invite them. When a claimed graduate cannot make a simple sentence, what do you make of it? Don't forget, when we mobilize them after training them in orientation camp, we post them to higher institutions, even secondary schools, primary schools, to go and teach our children. And these graduates that cannot speak English, that cannot make a simple sentence, will be the one teaching our children. And every day you see the co-employers rejecting the services of the corps members because of inefficiency. They cannot perform. And that is why NYSC will have to go through that process to ensure that the people we are mobilizing, especially in this Benin, Cotonou, Ghana and Cameroon, we need to put them through tests to make sure that the people that we're enrolling into National Youth Service Corps are actually graduates of that institution. So that's the problem we are facing. It's not today. We have found out a lot. If you come to our office, we will show you volumes of the so-called graduates, what they are writing. I forwarded some to Chamberlain. Maybe he might be able to screen them.
Mr. Mega, we've seen some of those write-ups, but again, the database at NYSC might be flawed, or you're saying that it's not flawed and the NYSC is working to update it as much as possible. But what happened to the link with the national identity number, I thought that was also part of what you collect when the students come in to say they want to answer the call to serve the nation.
Oh yeah, 3 years ago we have also enlisted that to ensure that your NIN number is part of your registration process, so that even if you come 20 times, the system is going to fish you out. We also have the intention of collaborating with Nigerian Immigration Services to ensure that we synergize. And so the process of beating Nigerian government by way of having their passport stamped inappropriately, all these things will be a thing of the past. So we are synergizing with these organizations and also doing some other internal control measures so that issues like this will not happen again.
But so how effective is that synergy? If you said 3 years ago you also infused a NIN process into the NYSC registration process, how is that working out? Because if we had started working, this young man wouldn't have been able to get in, or wasn't he asked of his identification number when he came?
No, please, can you come again?
You said 3 years ago the NIN was incorporated into the NYSC registration process. I'm saying, if that was effectively incorporated, would it have been possible for the undercover reporter to have gotten into the system?
Oh yeah, that is part of this synergy. For instance, we are having synergy with JAM. Okay, NYSC portal is having a handshake with JAM. And so whatever the students are bringing down to us, okay, the JAM portal will be able to confirm it. The same thing we are doing with WAEC. Okay, if you go and bring any fake result from WAEC and you think NYSC is going to accept it, by the time we link it up with the WAEC portal, we'll be able to see the real result and the authentic one. And if you are on the negative, the system will push you out immediately. But if you're on the positive, the system will accept you and you go on with your registration. So also we are intending to do with a national identity number. And from there, we'll now be able to checkmate some of these lapses that are happening from time to time.
You know, Mr. Megwa, before we let you go, I know that my colleague will have some questions to ask you. I'm looking at some of these write-ups, and I don't know if my producer could help put it on the screen. And I would like to ask you, when you get this kind of write-up, someone writes, some of these writings are ineligible. Do you expunge them from the system, or you still pass them through orientation and then send them to go? What would this person be teaching? This number is, I hope you don't mind if I call it, is 3372. And what he wrote, I don't know if this is English or if this is French or if this is, I can't make out the letters here. What do you do with these kind of people? You pass them through the system still?
It's embarrassing. And that is what we are seeing. We have written to NUC, we have written to Federal Ministry of Education, and we have made several complaints. Because of the quality of the graduates coming from these countries, and it's such that we cannot continue to contend. Ordinarily, it is not the mandate of the National Youth Service Corps to begin to test and verify the authenticity of graduates from higher institutions. We depend solely on the Senate-approved list telling us that these people are worthy in character and in learning, and they have approved that NYSC should accept them into the National Youth Service Corps. Ordinarily, that is what it should be. But when they come and we interface with them, and we discover that these people cannot even write a simple sentence, let alone speaking it. When I was the state coordinator in Lagos, during such verification exercise, I had to address all of them, over 4,000 of them. And I told them, if you know you did not go through the crucible of higher institution, which you are claiming, please quietly walk away. Because the moment we start the process and you are caught, the law enforcement agents are going to take you up. Before I could close my eyes, all of them, more than 80% ran away. because I invited police and they came with their handcuffs. Before I could close my eyes, they all ran away. So it is embarrassing that these are the kind of people we want to go to teach our young ones in primary school, in secondary school. You can't give what you don't have. And that is why NYSC need to step in, because our names are being dragged into the mud when we post them to their various places of primary assignment. If the core members cannot perform, it's NYSC they are calling. They are not going to be calling the higher institutions. And so we need to sanitize our own process to ensure that the people who are enrolling in National Youth Service Corps watch their onions.
One of the issues that plays up on the minds of a number of people is that, some would wonder, okay, there's this African proverb here in Nigeria that says, when the bird has learned to fly without perching, the hunter has to also learn to shoot without missing. Now, these netizens, the citizens of the net, they were born into it. So old strategies are not going to work for them. We cannot afford to be reactionary. We have to be proactive. And given what you know now, and that this young man came to you, as you said, and he proved to you that this thing can be done, and he did it. Now, I had thought, in your response to Neota's question, that the NIN, that's the national identity number, would be one way to sieve off any of these duplications. How was he able to circumvent that process if the NIN is a one-person-only gateway to identify a Nigerian?
Yeah, just like you have just said, technology keep evolving. And when matters like this come up, institutions or individuals involved will be able to look in and see how the system can be upgraded so as issues like this can be brought down to the barest minimum. Now, to that extent, like I said, when the young man fed in his email and the phone number with which we use in mobilizing him to Osun State at the initial, the moment he fed it in, the system flagged it. Okay? And now he had to use a different email and a different number before the system could accept it. All right? So the NYSC management, we are taking note of all this to ensure that we are going to work towards making sure that issues like this are not going to repeat itself. More so, we are also going to work with the Ministry of Education and Foreign Affairs so that we'll be able to keep track when these students leave the country for foreign studies and when they're going to come back. Now, if we have such documentations, we will now be able to say, no, you left so time, it's not time for you to graduate. Or you left at so time, this is the time you're supposed to graduate. And we'll now be able to look into your credentials and begin to mobilize you for national service.
Is there any handshake with the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology or the Federal Ministry of Communications, at least, digital economy? Because, as you said, these are technology languages, and young people are quite vast at it. All over the world, governments are largely catching up because the young people they were born into it, as I mentioned earlier. So we have to literally grow into what it is that they have been born into. So what kind of risks do you foresee that the NYSC in particular, given the instance of this example, what kind of challenges do you foresee that, your organization and maybe one or two others like you they need to prepare ahead of and circumvent in the event that they occur?
Oh, yeah. Just as I said earlier on, we already having a handshake with JAM, we have with WAEC. I mean, all these ones are fully established, okay? And we just talked about the national identity number, okay? Now, we know that all these things, technology is evolving every day. And it is the responsibility of institutions to ensure that we upgrade systems. Of course, it's not only NYSC. All over the world, you see hackers working here and there, beating even the bank process, getting there to collect money where they're not supposed to. Even security organizations, you see international professional hackers doing all manner of things. Now, we don't need to leave it there. As these things are coming up, we will keep on working around the clock to make sure that we upgrade our own system to ensure that issues like this will not persist. But let me also say, it can only take a criminal mind to do this and beat NYSC system. And don't forget, the first time he put in the email, the system flagged it. He owned up to it, and which means we have checks in the system. But that we have that check does not mean that it is sufficient in itself. We'll keep improving on it until we are sure that issues like this will not come up anymore.
Okay, just one last question from me, Mr. Megwa. The young man that we spoke to just before we brought you up, the national president of Nigerian National Association of Nigerian Students in Benin Republic, is appealing to the federal government and perhaps indirectly the NYSC to reassess the decision that's been taken by the federal government about this matter. And according to him, there are 15,000 or thereabouts students of Nigerian origin in those countries. Now, in reassessing, because they are legitimate students, there are those in 100 level, 200 level, 300 level, and 400 level in the schools right now. What kind of reassessment do you think would be fair so that they do not waste they haven't wasted their time, going into those schools in the first place?
Yes, on issues like this, don't forget, NYSC is an arm of the federal government, okay? It's an institution, of government. And we don't have that autonomy to take decisions that will affect such institutions. It's the federal government. Once they take decision, NYSC will be directed accordingly. It is not for us to take decision on what happened. But I must say very frankly that the experience we have gotten from these countries having these institutions is embarrassing. And what we have seen over the years has embarrassed the Nigerian government and the NYSC. And that is why we are so happy that the federal government is taking this kind of decision so that we curb this nonsense once and for all. On the 22nd of November, the Director General of National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Y.B. Ahmed, invited some co-producing institutions from Africa. Their registrars and the proprietors of the school, they came to Abuja, and we had a full one-day session with them. And what are we talking about is still this issue of having our graduates that are not qualified streaming into NYSC to come and serve the Nigerian nation. So we have been shouting, we have been writing, we have been following up. Now the issue is in the public domain. And let the federal government take decision. We cannot continue to crack our heads on how to mobilize half-breed graduates that cannot solve any problem in the economy of the nation. It is not good. If we have well-baked graduates, good. NYSC is good to go in mobilizing them. But those that are not good, they are not supposed to have any inroads, into the national youth service.
One of those pictures you sent to us. Then I'll ask you this last question. The producers could just put up that picture there. That writing is impossible. I'm not sure whether it's English language or where that writing is coming from. It's amazing. Can we just, this one, I think this one is Hausa or so, but there is the other one that is irrecognizable. It's amazing. But in the bid to do all of this, Mr. Megwa, in the bid to weed out these controversial degrees from the system, if you can just answer this real quick, wouldn't it be another animal farm case where some animals will be more equal than others? What's the guarantee that some people, yes, this is that one that is amazing. This writing is, I don't know, somebody will have to get a holographer to tell us what it's about. Yeah. So wouldn't it be another case of some animals are more equal than others in the course of weeding out these controversial certificates?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't get to the last bit.
I'm saying in the bid to weed out these controversial degrees from our system and all of that, would we not be another animal farm situation where some animals are more equal than others?
Well, the way the federal government have started is a good move in the right direction. And I think if we can consciously follow it up that way, NYSC will be good for it. We cannot continue to mobilize people that cannot express themselves. NYSC is an elitist organization. It is not an organization where you come and speak Igbo as your official language, or Hausa or Yoruba. Okay? The lingua franca in NYSC is English. And that's what we use in communicating, because we emphasize ethnicity, we emphasize religion. So if you cannot communicate in English, then there is a problem. You cannot come here to serve. So federal government is doing the right thing, and we'll give them kudos. We, to a large extent, commend the young man who has taken all the risk to do this thing. Whatever findings he has come out with is going to help organization, Nigerian nation, to readdress the issue and get it in the right perspective.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eddie Megwa, Director of Press and Public Relations of the National Youth Service Corps. Thank you for coming in this morning. And it's good to hear that the findings by the undercover reporter would help the federal government and the NYSC do better in running this program. Not that he's going to be arrested. Thank you again, and have yourself a good day.
Thank you, Mark.